Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Australians have done a remarkable job at listening to the experts and following the tough restrictions throughout the COVID-19 crisis. As a result, from the health perspective, we are in a very good position compared to other countries around the world. However, while the COVID-19 is a health crisis first and foremost, it's also an economic crisis. The government needs to develop a job strategy to support Australians in the challenging months ahead, because they know, despite what they claim, there will be no snapback at the end of this pandemic. The latest unemployment statistics demonstrate this, with 2.7 million people either leaving employment or had their hours reduced between March and April, and 26,000 of those were in the Hunter. Madam Deputy Speaker, this means that the real unemployment rate during this period was somewhere between 15% and 20%. In Newcastle and Lake Macquarie, the unemployment rate increased from 5.8% to 7.7%, and most distressingly, the youth unemployment rate is now at an official level of 18.7%, which means it's well over 30% in reality. The government desperately needs to develop a job strategy, and JobKeeper should be a key part of it. The government must consider expanding JobKeeper to include more impacted workers like the 1 million casuals who are currently missing out. The Treasurer can fix this right now with a stroke of a pen. The government must also consider extending the JobKeeper payment beyond September for those businesses and industries who need it. A sudden end to this subsidy will be disastrous for businesses that continue to be crippled by this crisis. Unfortunately, the government has done the exact opposite when it comes to the early childhood education sector. 3 days after promising JobKeeper will continue until September for all eligible Australians, the government broke this promise when it announced it would stop paying 120,000 early childhood educators from the 13th of July. The free childcare scheme will also end. I'm really concerned about the impact this will have, Madam Deputy Speaker. The government's free childcare scheme hasn't been perfect. It's left a lot of people out, but snapping back to the old system with high fees will make early education and care unaffordable and accessible for many, particularly those who are suffering reduced hours or loss of a job. And as a result, some families will be forced to pull their kids out of centres, which will have a significant impact on providers. Without JobKeeper, some of these providers may be forced to close down. What a way to say thanks to all these educators who worked throughout the pandemic, in turn allowing some of our essential frontline workers to do their jobs and educating their kids. I had one early childhood educator in tears talking to me yesterday morning. The government must fix this. This clearly demonstrates why the government needs to develop a job strategy. Without one, they risk botching our economic recovery, which will see more people queuing out the front of Centrelink. That is something Australia cannot afford.